Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ, and thank all of you for being here, my co-hosts, on this week. Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat week. For those who do not know, and especially those over on Facebook, this is brand new to you. So, everyone who is a regular co host here on the show, RPG with DBJ, knows that this show is TriCast out to Twitch and YouTube and our own Discord server. But this week, we are also broadcasting out to Facebook Live. Yes, if you just find me on Facebook, you will see the show as well. Those of you who are friends of mine over on Facebook, please be aware that this is brand new. And if this is something that might kind of interfere with something across your feed, please be free to not join in if you so desire. All right, so this week we're doing Mortal Kombat. Yes, Mortal Kombat has aired day and date, both in the theaters and on HBO Max streaming service at the exact same time. And much like we are streaming now with a different a different streaming platform, software that I'm using, uh, Mortal Kombat has been brought back with a brand new writer, brand new director, brand new actors, and all that sort of thing. So, um, there's a little bit of a meta part of this Mortal Kombat week, as I am both using something different and brand new, yet doing the same thing each day. Mortal Kombat has tried to do something new, and so we are going to, as we always do, on uh, finding some kind of mind fuel, creative juices for our tabletop RPG. Game setting, whatever. We're going to do that today. So today is Monster Monday. Again, for those who do not know, we get to talk live. You guys get to interact with me on various platforms as we talk about our favorite things. And usually, I am the one who comes up with the thesis, and it's always sparked by whatever I've seen over the weekend or something that interests me, or better yet, something that is basically on the minds of the rest of you guys. And on Monster Monday, of course, we have Trope Tuesday, World Building Wednesday, Third Pillar of Exploration Thursday, and Future Friday. We will take our deep dive into Mortal Kombat and engage in it that way. Now, for those of you out there who are either long-term members of the show or whatever, please be aware that I am using something called Restream, and hopefully all the chat will combine together. So if you don't mind, whatever platform you're going on, just give a shout out to either where you're from or where you want to be, and just to see how this works for you. There we go. There you go, Gaster. Thank you very much. You need help. Why would you need help there, sir? Why would you need help at all? Um, but please keep it within the form of Mortal Kombat. So today being Monster Monday, um, I thought we would talk about not just the tournament, the concept of Mortal Kombat, but the idea of bringing we're 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 going to take the absolute basics of the long legacy of Mortal Kombat, which is basically kind of a combat side scroller game or whatever that's been around for basically a generation, and bring that into our tabletop RPG games. Now, one of the great things about Mortal Kombat is it's really an excuse for a bunch of kick-ass individuals to get together, to beat ass. And there are plenty of combat games that allow you to do this. Mortal Kombat happened to be one of them. One of the legendary games that originated in the arcade era, because I'm a man of a certain age that remembers Mortal Kombat and people stacking their quarters up at the top of the machine to say who's got next. And other than the martial artists, we understand that as the history of Mortal Kombat expanded, because really it was just a bunch of graphics, and it was one of the first games that used what at the time was like photo capture of various at least it looked like it, photo capture of various individuals to use in a video game setting. Uh, Oh, here we go. Getting squirrely again. Okay, so Gaster says this has been keeping me up all night, and I know it's not related to D&D, but I just got to ask because it's been keeping me up. Is sushi classified as a burrito? I mean, really think about it. A burrito is comprised of a flat food that is normally wrapped around a sort of combination of meat and veggie. Hmm. Um. I suppose one would claim that the outer flour shell of a tortilla is more or less equivalent to a floured baked base. So, like a Yule log, you get that like graham crack, not graham cracker, ginger cake with the icing in the middle, and then you roll the cake. Might be more related to it, but the rice base, I suppose, by placing a meat and veggie on the inside and rolling it up, does kind of count, although it's not baked. Although a burrito doesn't necessarily need to be baked, but it could be heated and or sauce could be applied to the top of it. Hmm. I think we should do battle with this. I think, I think the semantics are something we really should go to war on. I thank you very much for finding something that is keeping yourself and many other people around the world confused about. Like, is it based on the kind of meat that you insert inside the folded outer shell? Is it based on the heat involved in it and lack thereof in sushi? Well, not all sushi. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if there are burrito makers that are. I wonder if there are burrito makers that are like as dedicated as sushi makers, and they're just like, I can't believe we don't get as much respect. We're gonna have to have a tournament to figure this one out. No, but in all honesty, the yeah, like Tesla puts it in Discord. Yeah, Mortal Kombat mocap. Yeah. Mm, mm, mm. Let's see if this will allow me to put this into here. I'm not sure if will let me do that. Yeah, it will let me do that. All right. The I want to. Okay. I know I'm sorry. My mind is going down different pathways, and the reason why it's going down different pathways right now is just a matter of fact. Just thinking about the fact that the real simple basics of Mortal Kombat about a bunch of people getting together and having a fight, and the passion that's involved in this damn video game franchise is pretty ridiculous, I think, and not the passion for it, but like the reasoning behind it. And when we try to introduce this into our tabletop RPG games, a lot of times it can feel like there's um, a forced introduction of these disparate individuals and factions getting together to have some sort of conflict. And I think as long as everyone involved understands that this is what the concept is, and whether you're doing a future like I don't know a Jaeger kaiju, a giant robot kind of a tabletop RPG where, much like this old '80s movie called Robo Jocks, where wars are, countries don't go to war anymore. It's the robot pilots that get together and fight it out, or battles are won not out in the field, but they're won in the on the blood and sand of the arena. And as long as everyone accepts that this is how society handles or needs to handle their various conflicts, I think it's okay. Now, if you want to go further into saying that, a tournament must be met to prevent, say, outer world beings or creatures or something of that nature, hey, Mofa, what's going on there? There is a possibility that you can. No, by the way, guys, can you just let me know if you are absolutely seeing the chat next to me? I'm making sure that I'm using a new streaming software, a streaming platform, and I just want to ensure can't post messages to some channels. I get it. Okay. I just want to ensure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing and whatnot. So just shout out or just give me a middle finger or whatever. All right. So the hmm, hmm, I heard something. Now one thing since we're talking about Monster Monday is if you accept the fact that you're going to have visitors from distant lands and your players accept the fact and don't start like questioning the 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 reasonableness of what's going on. It's a pretty damn great thing to have like um perfect. All right, thanks Tesla. Yeah, I'm seeing it. YouTube's popping in. We've got ourselves Twitch is coming up, and this is the first time I'm streaming to Facebook Live. So I'm not sure if anyone's even going to bother being up at this time to crack the crack acid dawn, but whatever. The So now this is a perfect excuse to bring in all those things that you've ever wanted to bring into your gaming world, whether it's fiends and celestials showing up, whether they're, I don't know, modrons from the plane of the lawful neutral realm, mechanics show up, whether there are gangs of humanoids of various different types and skill levels that you want to join into this to show up at this battle or these tournaments. And you can start to reframe what these tournaments even mean, whether they are your classic blood and sand arenas and gladiators fight it out. Who are the gladiators that are fighting? Are the player characters these individuals, or is it just people the meeting on the battlefield in general to fight it out? Maybe there's a plane of existence or a small island or a no man's land or a blasted realm where warriors just meet and there's a free for all. Or if we want to go speed racer route, maybe there's a mountain pass that only opens up once every 100 years or something, and you've got to be the fastest driver to get from one end to the other. I don't know why the speed reference came up in my head, but there's all kinds of we can come up with all kinds of win conditions based on your setting, whether it is, hey, who's the baddest ass and who can punch the other person in the throat the hardest, or whether it is a, achieving some kind of MacGuffin, and that MacGuffin could be traveling from A to B. It could be like a capture the flag. You must obtain the MacGuffin, the ring, the flag, the sword, the magic item, reaching the old hermit at the top of the mountain or the bottom of the ocean or the deepest desert. It may be something like that. It could even be, there could even be these enigmatic judges that are like godlings or so. Hey, Cam, what's going on? Mm, any of these things could be possible, and it's a great Mortal Kombat as a framing reference is a good way for us to say, hey, you know what? I've got all these monster books and I've written up all these NPCs and I've got all these great factions, but how the hell do I introduce them all when they really have no reason to be together? And this might be the way they do it. Now, we do have a version of this in our own world, and those are basically peacetime tournaments in the sense of when countries don't want to go to war, much like the Olympics. There's also the idea of we as a culture are we are still animals in many ways, whether it has to do with territory, whether it has to do with capturing resources and things, and tournaments and competition is part of that. And part of having competition is to prove to other people that we have the skills to exist, to live in this world, whether they are skills of survival, resource management, to prove to somebody else in a civilized, semi-civilized manner that you have you and your nation has a further capability to crush the other nation. And the Olympics or conflict style games are a version of that. So, for example, let's go with like fantasy style Olympic games, whether it's like archery or strongman competitions and acrobatic competitions, and I've seen plenty of those strongman competitions on the weekends here in the States where they're pulling fire trucks and they're lifting stones and they're throwing axes, and a lot of that comes from work. Like the a lot of the games are variations of work people have done, like chopping down trees or lifting cinder blocks and stacking them up, or carrying loads of boards on your shoulders. A lot of them come from basically the peacetime version of war, whether it is throwing axes or doing battle with with pads on. Boxing and MMA is a perfect example of that. And creatures and monsters from other realms might want to come to our setting to prove their worth, right? A pit fiend might come to Earth for no other reason than to find out, what kind of warriors does Earth have? And Earth's paladins might show up, and people might go, all right, we need to prove to these pit fiends not to come to Earth, and we got to send our best and brightest. And this might be a civilized version of enemy nations coming to each other, like, okay, if we each send our best and their one or two warriors can kick ours, what happens when we see an army of them? So, and it's also a way to save face as well, right? So if someone loses, you go, all right, you give them a thumbs up and you go, you know what, you beat my ass, but all right, here's your, I get a silver, you get the gold. We'll come back next season or solstice or equinox, or when the planes shift together, or I don't know, next week or something, to test things out. um Let's see if this shows up here. Cam says, I want to see a Canadian lumberjack and Canadian beaver get in shelter building competitions. That's another thing that happens as well, right? Like for example, um, we will challenge ourselves against uh, the forces of nature to do a thing. While you're being super sarcastic, Cameron, you're absolutely right. Right, like how many times have we seen people like, I can run faster than a horse, or um, I can lift more than an elephant, or the Iditarod, where it's like, I'm going to take me and a bunch of dogs and a sled and travel 300 miles across the frozen Arctic and hope I get to the other end. Now, not all competition need be, uh, y- we can vacillate between extremely lethal, right? Like, rock climbing, freestyle rock climbing. Like we could do that, or you can get very very simple, like arm wrestling, or standard collegiate form of wrestling, or gymnastics, and other kind of professional sports where, yeah, there's injuries, but people aren't really going to get hurt unless you move on to that next level. And player characters might be part of that, where there's, you could even have a dichotomy where, yeah, the non-lethal stuff, that's for the plebes, that's for the average people. But behind the scenes is where we have the bloody cage matches, much like MMA is today, where you have big name fighters and those kind of things. But then on the other hand, we also have, like, we hear about Fight Club, where you have dirty urine smelling basements with a bunch of um, sociopathic rich people throwing around a lot of cash, meeting in the basement of parking lots or something like that. And our heroes are doing battle with each other and whatnot in these with bloody fists, trying to earn money to for an operation for their niece or whatever. A little too specific, I think, there. But yeah, this may be, and also this is also a great way to Vampire the Masquerade, the very first White Wolf game, introduced this. And not it wasn't the only game to introduce this, and it wasn't the only intellectual property to do this, but it really did capture this within the setting as far as tabletop RPGs go. And that is the idea of forced social conflict through through and around physical conflict. And what I mean by that is that in a world in this game filled with vampires and other mysticism, and with players basically created as badasses in this world, how is it that player characters just don't go around being murderous? Yeah, being murderous assholes, right? Like how do we stop that? And the how we stop that is you make a rule that says that if you break the rules, whatever the rules of interaction are, if the player characters break the rules or the NPCs as well, everybody invited, excuse me, everybody part and parcel of this society gets to come out of the woodworks and beat your ass. So in essence, much like nation states do this, is what happens is, yeah, you and I might be enemies, but there's 17 other groups involved. And if either of us break the rules, the other 17 groups get to jump on us and beat our asses. And although there's always going to be a player character that's like, that's not really going to happen, um, there is this idea that it's possible that the player characters might step over a line, much like John Wick stepped over the line of blowing somebody away in the Continental. There's a rule, hey, assassins, hey everybody, this is sacred ground. Don't do your assassin work in the Continental. He does it, therefore everybody comes after him. Thomas Anderson says, can't remember the name off the top of my head, but there was a Christian group that went around performing strongman tricks like breaking cuffs, blocks of ice, and their heads ripping phone books. That sounds really familiar, but I don't remember what that was. And this is a great way. Also, if players are okay, it can. Let's be real. The idea of much like the prison break or the getting to the deserted island, washing up on the deserted island as a tabletop role playing trope sounds good, but it can get old very quickly if it's done over and over again. The players fight in an arena against an enemy. I mean, there's even role playing, even classic Dungeons and Dragons role playing games that were literally built around the idea of like, um, we're going to we are going to embrace the meta of it, and instead of going into dungeons and attacking things, we're going to do like a goblin bowl where we just fight against other D&D enemies in an arena. And it sounds cute, but it can get old. So having different ways for people to interact with it, whether it's like going behind the scenes and cheating, or finding out who, if they're if the goblins are bringing a ringer and everyone's like, there's no such thing as a 20-foot tall goblin, and there's some really bad disguised ogre that's like, the ogre's like, I am a goblin, and the rules makers are like, well, he is wearing a goblin skin over his face, so he kind of does qualify, so dumb stuff like that. um as uh, Ta is mentioning about this Christian group, maybe there's other ways for the players to interact, whether like maybe there is a magic tournament, or maybe there is a team tournament. Hey, all three of you must use the this is an adventure I wrote. So it was called the Tournament of Wood, Stone, and Steel. And the Tournament of Wood, Stone, and Steel was basically this idea that um, it was basically the idea that wood was easy, stone was medium difficulty, and steel was very hard. And there were different interactions where like the players had to stack up this wood, stone, and steel blocks to be the first one to get to the highest point. I believe there's a competition in the Euro Theater where thousands of people gather together as in various teams, and they try to make these human towers and to be the tallest tower. Um, and whatnot. Yeah, thanks, Cam. Cam is just like, Cam's like, I think you broke the first rule of Fight Club. And oh, the second one too. That, you know what, that might be a thing as well. Like, the players and these creatures from other realms, and they don't have to be other realms, they could just be other nations or something. Like maybe the other nations haven't seen war in all these years because they've been having these tournaments, right? Where the tournaments themselves are are a hidden facet of how society um has been. And TA says it was the power team. The power team? I don't remember that title, but I remember what you're talking about. Um I just don't, I don't know. I just it just it just didn't dawn on me. Now, Cameron says with the gladiator arena idea, would an escape plot be sufficient enough to keep interest? Like, just gotta make it through this fight and we can get back to digging that tunnel with our spoons. You know, that's actually pretty interesting as well. Like to to use the backdrop of the arena as the distraction to the real thing, right? It's the proverbial escaping from the Mansfield prison in Shawshank Redemption, right? Like really, in Shawshank Redemption, the point was to get the hell out of the prison any way he can, and all the other drama was a distraction to digging a hole behind the poster with a spoon. Sorry, spoiler alert. But if you haven't seen Shawshank Redemption yet, but or even what is it, Escape from Alcatraz, right? And I like that idea. I like the idea that the I heard something in the background. I like the idea that the arena fight itself, and you know what, this is a great way for like the players that can beat ass join in the arena while the other players like the bard and the warlock or something are like, I don't have time to fight in arena. We got to get the hell out of here. And they might be making deals in the back to like do the escape. Hey, we need to bribe the thing, steal the thing, build the thing, make our own shivs to get the hell out of here. And the arena is a distraction from what we really want to do. Um, Thomas Anderson says there is that game of the ball being full of money and the whole town fighting and doing anything they can to control the ball and get the prize inside at the end too. And there might be a competition, like you said, like a ball of money, a map to treasure, a gift from the gods, a um this is the confluence of worlds, and humanity, if you step into the confluence of worlds, you will be gifted with great power or immortality or something. There might be something of that nature as well, where this is the only time people are able to escape the reality of their situation. You know what I mean? This is the only time that they're able to rise above uh, their station. And some people might want to even get the hell out of their station. Leaders and rich nobles and PKs, preachers' kids that are like, I don't want to grow up to be like you. A pit fiend that's like, I don't want to torture people. And they're like, you're going to grow up to torture people in the abyss, whether you like it or not. Or I don't know whether they're Baylors or it doesn't matter. But you get the point, right? There may be uh, there may be a number of individuals that are trying to escape the humdrum of their lives or the forced servitude of their lives, like a gladiator or something, and say, listen, if I get this prize, me and my family, we're set. Or our nation state, we get the real prize. Or it even might be games played amongst demigods. We've seen this plenty of times in a lot of classic lot of classic Roman and Greek styled intellectual properties where the gods are playing chess, and then you literally see the gods in Olympus moving pieces on a board, and in the clouds in Olympus, and human beings are being manipulated down below. And a lot of the cantos that are written about that, the gods are moving people around, and the humans are like raising their fists in the air, like mother, f you, you mothers, and they have to do these battles, and they're like, you know what? If I can just raise the demigodhood, I'll get the hell out of here, you know. Um, Cam says, "How would you make a battle of the bands or battle of the bards interesting? Similar stuff to Gladiator stuff? Hell yeah, you can. Yeah, like, what a great way! What a great way to have like a battle without having it be combat related, right? Like, having to play music. The bard is like playing like heavy metal music to the tune of the barbarians like axe swings or something like that. No, but in all honesty, having various types of conflict. Matter of fact, if you want to do the gods are going with a wave of their hand, the gods can destroy society, and humanity has to prove their worth. It could literally be a battle for, all right, we have to show the best of us. So we have to show, we have to do the proverbial Luke Picard trying to prove that Data is a real human being. You may have to do artistic performances, battle. Like, you have to literally engage in all aspects of humanity, whether it's diplomacy or survival, and all of these various. Like, a tournament doesn't need to be in one central location. It could be, hey, there's like 17 groups of you, and you have to get from A to B, and we want to see the best of what you are as you're making these long travels. And the gods are judging these groups along the way. Like, one group, I don't know, gets stuck in a hurricane and they're trapped and hurt, and the PCs are like, should we save them? And they're like, well, the gods are going to judge us. Maybe we should stop, but we're going to lose. But they're also judging us on how we take care of the weakest members of our society. So what do we do? Yeah. Let's see. Daniel Seafrost says, I ran an undead fight club in a campaign. Undead fight club? It was presented as the as the vice of aristocrats, and necromancers were the equivalent of coaches. Just wanted to add add nothing to the conversation. Oh no. Now see, listen, you guys know I take the sarcasm, and I kind of take it seriously, and then the serious stuff we kind of get sarcastic. But I like your idea there, DS, because this is a way for a player character to a player character to be part of the conflict without themselves being part of it. So, like, necromancers having undead fight each other, player characters having their having their familiars fighting like a cockfight or something, having a bard and cleric being coaches for a team of regular old people, and figuring out who can motivate their team the best with inspiration and bless and things. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to have a conflict with other people, um, as a trope of sorts, to have this outstanding conflict without the players themselves having to put the wraps on, get the oiled body, and go out there and have to, spit a loose bloody tooth into a tin can or something like that. Oh man. Getting into the chat here. Let's see. Thomas Anderson is like, oh god, I can see it now. West Side Story D&D edition. Officer Krupke, la 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 la. Getting their arms tied together. Beat it. Just beat it. Yeah, now AGR says the gods of old were metal. Justify your existence or cease to be mortal. Yeah, they were pretty friggin' petty, weren't they? But that type of conflict with the gods, because a lot of times, I mean, we've seen a lot of settings where the gods don't exist. They've been slain. They don't communicate anymore. And it can be, part of it is pantheons are a pain in the ass, and the other part of it is um, not wanting us to delve into religion in a lot of games. And lastly, gods are supposed to be, we think of gods in our present tense as being infallible, when the gods in of old were absolute single-minded assholes that just like, you're going to do what I say or else. and ruin your life. I mean, how many times has Zeus come down and was just like, I'm gonna use my shape change and put my rod, my lightning rod, and everything. Bam! You know what I mean? Like it was a constant thing like that. And for gods to be petty and the human beings just to roll their eyes every time the gods show up to have like a drinking contest, or you look more beautiful than me, and this person sitting back like, listen, I was just born this way. Will you just leave me alone? And they're like, I can't allow this to happen. um, yeah, like Thomas Anderson is like, you can challenge me to a game, and if you win, I will not take you. Death, and how many times have we seen that where like a person makes a deal with the devil or makes a deal with death to avoid some kind of condition, and that might be pretty interesting, especially if people are trying to fight for like a loved one, or this might be how characters level up. They are fighting to achieve the players are using a loophole to achieve gifts or exemptions of mortality from the gods, so that the players are getting better. The players are becoming more superhuman because they're being exempted from the rules of mortality, because they're winning in these competition against the gods themselves. And maybe the game rules themselves are the exemptions the player characters are using to do a thing. Like the only reason a paladin has the ability to smite is because it's an exemption, because no normal human being can smite. But by winning these things, the gods are like, oh well, I I Thor touches their sword or something. I grant you the ability to smite because you survived this fantastical storm or something of that nature. Mike Gould's like, yeah, certainly a great excuse to create warlocks. Yep, like, you know what? If I do this thing, will you let me do this other thing? Hell, we we did this before when we were world building with classes. It's an old series we did on a channel, probably upwards of like a year ago or something, where we took each classic Dungeons and Dragons character class and like built a world around it. And that's actually kind of a cool thing where the players have patrons, like literally like sports gambling patrons and whatnot. And that's a good excuse, although technically every character class could kind of fit into it. The character class warlock and the idea of having a patron both are a thing. You know what I mean? Uh, AG says Swan Zeus. Yeah, I know you guys mentioned it. Insert Swan here, which I wasn't going to get. I wasn't going to get that deviant, but yeah. Anyway, Swan Zeus. Oh no, hide your daughters, hide your wives, hide your grandmas, hide the potted plants. Yeah, yeah. Zeus was pretty much a horny old dude, and Hera is always trying to find him and smack him around and whatnot. Yeah, 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 yeah. Which, in a strange way, I find this kind of sarcastic. Maybe these interdimensional tournaments are a way to distract the gods, because if you didn't, they'd be up to like all kinds of shenanigans that have been ruining the countryside in the first place. And the this is a weird thing to say. The only safe space is to focus the god's attention down into these tournaments. And on one hand, it's on one hand, maybe there is a form of like the enemies of the PCs are like fighting, but they're actually speaking to each other like professional wrestling. Like, hey, the ogres like make it look good because they're getting a little bored and distracted, and the PCs are like, all right, here, you throw me against the ropes, and then I'll do I'll do a suplex, and then you do the superfly schnucker, and then I'll do a and the ogre's like, okay, go for it. 1, 2, 3. No, he didn't tap out, and the gods are like, boring. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to go throw a lightning bolt at another mountainside. And they're like, no, 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 wait. And the judge is taken out, and the referee turns his back, and they throw in a chair into the ring. and the PCs are like running around, jumping off of ladders or something like that, trying to make it look good or whatever. That'd be pretty hilarious. But I suppose in a more serious context, there could be something to that. That not only do you need to beat ass, but you also need to perform well. Maybe giving like great speeches before you do to give a so-called killing blow, or hey, it's not a matter of you being able to swing your sword, but swing your sword in a, flashing it around in these really great katas or something. That may have something to do with it. Mike Gould says, "Is it really Swan Zeus or three spare gnomes in a bird suit?" Yeah. Um, I would question. I would question the unwelcome insertion of said uh, uh, things into other said things. Cam is like Chimera off the top rope. Slow motion. You see like flame coming out of like the dragon's mouth, and the goat's horns are going forward and jumping in the air, and then the chimera lands on the gnome, is like boom, and the chimera is like lion head is like, "You all right?" And the gnome's like, "Good." Boom. You see like and the gnome's like wiggling on the ground like, "Oh, that really hurt." And then the chimera gets up and like leans against the rope and comes back at. That'd be hilarious. That would be I love it. I love it so much. Um, but it could be like, why not have competitions of who can ride the undomesticated monster? Like, there's a big arena. There's like a you get the you have to get on the back and break, literally mount a chimera. Let's put a wyvern in there. Let's throw a what's something pretty a dragon turtle maybe. Let's go away from dragons and things. Let's go purple worm. uh, and the PCs are like, we have to do what? And they're like, well, against the wall are some saddles and bridles, and you've got to find one, get on its back. And then there's like other groups trying to run around like, shit, okay, what, you distracted over here, and then I'll jump on its back there, and then you wrestle its head down here, and then and then you have to ride on it, and then take the ball and throw it into the hoop or something. I mean, I think you could get really bizarre and crazy with these competitions, especially if it's like Secret Wars. You're all gathered together to put on the island to do the thing, and the gods are watching or something. Oh man, um, getting into the chat. Oh man, um Daniel Searfoss saying it's like style points. There could be a version of like earning style points. Like, yeah, your barbarian beats ass, but you're not gaining any points. And those points might be things like, um, given maybe there's some influence outside of the competition you need to garner, whether it's getting, in order to gain favor to solve other situations outside of these tournaments, you have to gain favor inside the tournament, and it could be physical things like weapons or armor or other kinds of arcane boons. It might be something more social, a little more a little more narrative, being given top billing, or not being put in these damn like these situations where it's like a no-win situation, and you're just like, why is my gnome getting put into an arena with like nine other people? Like, I was sitting in a dude's back pocket last week, and now I'm getting my ass beat. Like, why would I want that to happen? You know. um oh man, Michael says Ogre Wrestling Foundation. He's going up all the way up. Here's the flying elbow, and comes down like flying off the top rope. Like, I think it would be hilarious and fun, and even what a strange win condition to like throw a fight. Like, imagine player characters having to throw a fight against what would normally in a normal dungeon be their enemies. knowing that the ogres are like, you know what, they've got my family and they captured my family. And normally the ogres got like piercings and blood and razor sharp weapons and stuff. But in the background, the ogre's just like crying in the corner and they're like, what's happening? He's like, they're making me fight because they have my family. I got to get my family out. And the rogue is like, well, I could sneak out of here, but they need us to get in the arena. So we've got to fight in the arena long enough to distract people for the rogue to get out, to free the ogre's family, to send the message back into the arena, to tell the ogre that he doesn't have to fight anymore. And then now the ogre can team up with the PCs, or at least not be an enemy of the PCs, to go like, I don't like you, but I'm glad you sent my family. So guess what? You and I, we got we see eye to eye, and you saved mine, so I'm gonna save you. So that might be a really good, like AGR says, make it look good for the gods, kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, hold on, I got to do this. Do you smell what the gods are cooking? Down in the nine hells, cooking like soul. Making okay, I can't. I'm not going to call it that kind of pie, but whatever. Michael mentions ridiculous rodeo challenge. Waterdeep Bob had a great showing last week, but I'm sorry, I got to do the announcer voice. Waterdeep Bob had a great showing last week, but can he last 8 seconds on Grape God? As someone stupid or brave puts a saddle on a purple worm. Oh, last week oh wow, it's the gnome against the orc. The orc is riding the dragon turtle known as Hoof-Hearted, and the gnome is riding the camel known as Ice Smelted. Hoof-Hearted, Ice Smelted. Who's going to be first? Is it Ice Smelted? Hoof-Hearted? I don't know. Anyway, I I think you can have some pretty ridiculous and fun and great things by stealing basically from Mortal Kombat. And as a matter of fact, I even feel like both the ridiculousness of creating these different factions that are part of it, the ogre with being forced into combat with because his family's captured, the minotaurs that do this as a way to garner some kind of breeding element in their own society, and going to these competitions is better. It could be a small farming community that's trying to not have to scrape by, and they're teaching their daughter, and the daughter's like, I don't want to be in a competition, and the family's like, listen, we've been having you practice lift weights and sword fight with wooden swords in the background for years to get us out of this debt and desolation or something like that. Yeah. And later tonight, Kobold Steeplechase tonight on Sportsnet. I mean, the whole thing, you have to have like the little the stinger, the music stinger, Kobold Steeplechase. And you might even have these, like, this could easily be really fun things to do during like first through third level Dungeons and Dragons, meaning like it's not always about, for low level gaming, I think is missing something. And for me, it's the missing pieces that are undefined for me, is that sometimes winning and losing is not about killing a thing and the thing killing you. It's achieving the goal. It's whether it's getting the MacGuffin, it is surviving past the tension point, or surviving before the tension point meets the point of tension, right? It's the ability to get to a place before everyone else, to impress other people, to win in a race, to grab the gold ring purposefully or whatnot. I mean, it's that whole thing. Like, for example, Cameron mentions, like, oh, the win condition could be the two fighters rolling a number of checks within 5 numbers of each other. Like, oh, I roll a 13 for the stunner, and then the other one's like, I roll a 17 to make the fall look bad. Success, only 2 more, right? And skill. This is where skill challenging comes in, where you roll to hit. All right, that's good. And maybe you might just use this with combat rolls, or you might use this with skill rolls. Like, guess what? Your bonus action, you're going to have to use that in order to gain points or make this count, you're going to have to use instead another skill roll to make it look good, whether it's performance or acrobatics or deception. Like, hey, I'm going to use my acrobatics skill to do 3 forward and then a couple of back somersaults, and then I'm going to tackle you, and the enemy has to look like they got hurt. So now they have to use like performance or deception to make it look like that triple kick in the chest really did knock them 20 feet back or something like that. Maybe the wizard casts Featherfall on the pocket gnome to make it look like the pocket gnome got knocked back really far in slow motion or something. Yeah, even AG says a performance roll to sell the move. That's awesome. Oh, absolutely. And yeah, your barbarian could punch somebody in the face and knock them out in one punch. But really, what you want to do is leg trip, throw them over the shoulder, get them in an arm bar, tell them to make them tap out, make them beg and choke for it. Maybe give a little bit of a speech to the crowd or something, or a someone casts thaumaturgy or prestidigitation on you to make a thing happen to make something else look cool or whatever. And I think that'd be awesome. I think that's a great, funny, but also interactive way to win. Like, someone could actually win a battle, barbarian punching the ogre in the face in one punch and taking him out, and lose the fight when everyone puts a thumbs down to the ogre who just got knocked out flat out with one punch, right? And the barbarian's like, what? I took out his hit points. I don't see why everybody's so upset. And everyone's just going like, oh my God, you're not learning anything. You're supposed to make this look good, And then the gods walk away like, whatever. Mike Gould says, well, should a culture exist where gladiatorial or other games determine favor under the premise of pleasing the gods? Any number of single or group challenges could be a short campaign. Absolutely. And this might be like, again, once a season, once every 100 years. It may be cultures from around the world do challenges of this sort all the time, whether it is who can hunt the elephant and get to the elephant before everyone else. Sometimes these challenges aren't meant to be evil. They're meant to be coming of age challenges. Hey kid, here's your spear. You get to go after the elephant, and we adults are just going to follow you and see what happens when you get there, right? Right now, just people who live on ranches breaking horses. Hey, 12-year-old, here's your first horse. You're going to have to learn how to take care of him and ride him and chase after him or tackle the greased pig or something. These are little small things, but at the same time, the challenges that we do for fun are bigger parts of a bigger culture, where on a bigger culture, being able to take care of your farm and your family is very important to that family. And yeah, we're having fun chasing pigs and learning how to ride horses, but it's important because if you've got a large ranch, that 12-year-old, when he turns 15, might have to take over because, people's lives were very short or something of that nature. So, Mike Gould mentions again, goblin jockeys riding piggyback on ogres could be a ridiculous and eventful race, especially if the ogres get frustrated and throw their riders into the crowd. Hey, it ain't just about riding. It's what is it? What's the stupid auto racing uh with Tom Cruise? Something of Thunder. Like if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing, or something like that. And the announcer's like, oh, did you see that? The gnome got thrown into the crowd. Oh no, the jockey. What? The goblin got. Did that goblin get ripped in half by the other ogre? Yo, yes, he did. Lost a little control there of his mount there. Yeah, is it Days of Thunder? Yeah, that's it, Days of Thunder. Yeah, if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. And this whole time the ogres are killing their riders and no one's upset about it. You're like, well, gonna have to get control of that that mount. The ogre runs back to the stables, like kicking stuff out of his way, all pissed off, like goes back to the stables, puts the shoulder saddle back on again, and it's not even modified. It's just like a horse saddle, just with like an extra long strap around his like shoulders or something, all pissed off. Put this what are those things spurs into me, and his neck bleeding a little bit. We'll see what happens next time. Oh man. Cam's like, where's my extra halfling? Cannon fires and a small screaming voice fades away rapidly. Ah! It's like, oh wow, I hope he was wearing a helmet. Holy crap, it's a record distance. Oh my goodness. Oh shit. Oh man. You guys are crazy. I love it. Is that gnome racing a Mercury Sable while that halfling races a Ford Taurus? You mean like those old stupid auto derbies where they race around in like a figure eight and smash into each other? That'd be kind of weird too, you know? Or if you want to get really dangerous, maybe that's what they used to do in Volantis. Game of Thrones, the Dance of Dragons, like that might be a thing. Looks like Johnson won't make the finals without surgery or a shit ton of duct tape. Well, you're right there, Bob. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I hope you guys appreciate, much like this Mortal Kombat was written by a brand new writer and directed by a brand new director, which a lot of people are giving it like a wavering thumb. They're like, I want to give it a thumbs up, but so I hope the streaming capability here to all of you out there streaming on Facebook Live and Twitch and YouTube and our own Discord server. I hope this is good for you. I like that the chat is together, but it is moving just a little bit. It's getting to the point where it's getting a little bit fast for me, but it's not too bad. So I hope that's good for you. Yeah, Cam's like a destruction derby with dragons, just ramming them into each other. No, 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 no. Like it could be. It could be a battle to submission. It could be something like the people riding the dragons are more like damn near passive participants as the dragons go for each other. Adriel's like, so 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Yeah, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I don't know. It the opening 10 minutes of that movie promised so much more than the rest of the movie. And it's unfortunate because most good storytelling, the opening should tell you what the rest of the movie should be like. And I was hoping the rest of the movie would take place in that time period or majority, and it just didn't. And I was just like, what in the world? But anyway, to take us out, Mike's like, we'll see you on tomorrow's episode of the Great Goblin Games from Bob and I. Good night. Guys, have a great one. I will see thee later. Everybody, have a great one. I'll see you. Bye. Oh, and also uh please just do the usuals. Like, share, subscribe, let people know about the show, that kind of thing. Anyway, thank you very much. Guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. This week is Mortal Kombat week. Tomorrow's Trope Tuesday, where we talk about the usual tropes in these tournament style things. And of course, World Building Wednesday and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, Cam. Cam, it says, thanks for the fun. Thanks for the fun. Have a great one. Yeah, we'll figure out how all this works later on. I'm just getting used to this. It's missing certain things. Gonna have to customize, find out if I want to upgrade and all that kind of business. So you guys just let me know if this was any good for you. You guys are my co-hosts, and so I want to default to presenting you guys in the best light rather than myself. So I think this might work a bit better. But just anyway, guys, just let me know. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much. And by the way, see you later. Bye. Cam's like, I like it. All right, man. Hey, peace.